Welcome back. If you are new here, then hello, my name is Sarah and I like to make YouTube videos. So for today's video, I am so stinking excited. We are going to be doing a one brand tutorial. So basically everything on my face, excluding the eyebrows, I'm so sorry, is going to be from Wet n Wild. So this entire look, I think if I calculated it correctly, came to just under $100. So like about $80 for everything in total, which is so amazing. I can't even believe that you can make a look that affordable and still look pretty dang good, if I do say so myself. So if you guys are interested in seeing a look, this look that I have on my face right now using only Wet n Wild products, then keep on watching. So unfortunately, for the life of me, I could not find a Wet n Wild eyebrow product, so I just did go ahead and do my own. I know it's supposed to be a one brand tutorial, but I really just could not figure this part out. The rest of it is totally going to be Wet n Wild except for the brows. I do apologize. But if you guys are on a budget, then I do highly recommend either the NYX eyebrow pencil or the L'Oreal eyebrow pencil. They're extremely similar, both extremely affordable. I think honestly they're around the same price. It really just depends on perhaps the coloring or the brand. It's up to you. But we can move straight into the eyeballs, and for that I'm just going to start by priming my eyelids. So I'm just going to start by taking the Wet n Wild Photofocus concealer, putting that all over my eyelids, and then we can move on. So for the eyeshadow today, I'm going to be taking the Naturel eyeshadow palette. I think they have 2 or maybe 3 large palette options. This is the one that I found the most intriguing, so I'm going to go ahead and get started. So as for the shade names, unfortunately none of these shades have names, they just have numbers. So I'm going to go into shade number 1 and just pack that all over the lid. This is just going to kind of set the concealer and make sure everything blends out super smooth and lasts all day. As for the brushes, I am going to be using brushes from BH Cosmetics. These are super affordable and actually extremely good quality. I use them all the time, and I unfortunately could not find any brushes from Wet n Wild. I think they do have brushes, but possibly they're not available in Canada yet. So we're going with these. So I'm just going to take the BH Cosmetics 103 brush. This is just a flat little brush, and apply the shade number 1 all over the lid. Now I'm going to go into shade number 6, which is probably one of the only usable transition shades in my opinion. A lot of the shades in this palette are very shimmery. This is a very nice matte brown, so I'm going to take that on the BH Cosmetics 101 brush. This is just a little fluffy blending brush. It works absolutely fantastic for the crease. So I'm going to go ahead and take that shade, pop it in the crease, and that's it. Moving along, I'm going to take the shade number 7, and I'm going to be taking that on a BH Cosmetics number 6 brush. This is still kind of a fluffy blending brush, but it's a little bit more densely packed, and I much prefer this to do the crease, but in a more concentrated fashion. So taking the shade number 7, we're going to go into the crease, but as well as the outer corner. So this is going to kind of bring that sort of cat eye effect to the look. We are going to finish it off with a cat eye, but this is just our first step in the adventure. So moving right along, we're just like going through the numbers, you guys. We're going into shade number 8. We're going into number 8. So this is just kind of one of the more shimmery shades, but it's like the darker shimmery shade, which is one of my fave kind of colors. So we're gonna go and take a BH Cosmetics 102 brush. This is just like your basic flat eyeshadow brush, and we're going to pack that on to the outer half of the lid. So just like this area, we're just going to pack it on. This is really going to deepen up the outer corners, and if you would like, I probably will do this. Just spray your brush with some setting spray. In fact, we do have a setting spray. This is the Wet n Wild Natural Finish setting spray. This is just going to really bring up that pigment and the shimmeriness of the shade. I find this is just like always an important step. I almost always, pretty much never don't spray my brush with some setting spray when I'm using a shimmery shade. So that is my tip to you guys, especially if you're using something that perhaps you find is not super pigmented. I do find this pretty pigmented. For the price, it's pretty good. But if you ever just want to like amp it up a little bit more, then I highly recommend, even if it's not a shimmery shade, although that does work kind of the best way, is to spray it with some setting spray. And this is like $3, so you really can't go wrong. So far, so good. So I'm going to move back into the shade number 7, and I'm basically just going to take that on a more densely packed but still kind of fluffy brush. And this is the BH Cosmetics number 7. We just want to sort of deepen up the outer corner but also blend out the areas where we just put number 8. And yeah, we're going to see a big difference with this step. So you're really just going to go in little tiny circular motions just in the outer corner, a little bit in the upper crease, but just really keeping it focused on the outer corners. And this is just going to blend everything out like a dream, like we're dreaming. So I'm still finding the edges to be a little bit too harsh for my taste. So I'm going to take the BH Cosmetics number 5. This is definitely one of your more basic blending brushes, and we're just going to blend out the outer edges of the eyeshadow. There's going to be absolutely zero product on this brush. Alright, so we do have to put something on the inner corner and the inner portion of our lid. So I'm going to go into shade number 4. This is a very shimmery rose gold shade. I'm going to go on the same BH Cosmetics 102 brush and spray it with some setting spray all over again, and just pack it onto the inner portion of the lid so that we have sparkles all over the lid but in 2 different shades. So we are almost done here. I do want to deepen up the outer corner just a touch. So I'm going to take the BH Cosmetics 105 brush. This is just a tiny little pencil defining brush, and all we're going to do is go into the shade number 10. This is basically your matte black shade, and just very gently tickle the black shade and pop it into the very outer corner. We're really not doing much because this is going to make a huge impact, even just the slightest touch of it. So that's what we're gonna do. So like I mentioned, I definitely do want to do a wing today. It's gonna take the Wet n Wild Proline Felt Tip eyeliner. This is just a liquid black eyeliner. So I personally am more familiar with brush tip eyeliner pencils. The one that I prefer to use in most cases, and it's still pretty affordable, is the Physicians Formula Eye Booster Pen. That is a fantastic liquid eyeliner. I honestly believe that it's comparable to anything high-end. Like, it's just amazing. So we're going to be using a felt tip one today because I don't think Wet n Wild has brush tip. Perhaps they do and I just couldn't find it, but this is what I found and that's what we're going to use. So we're just going to go ahead and make a wing. This is totally up to you. If you want a small wing, if you want a big wing, whatever kind of wing you want, girl, you can have it. Alright, so these wings are not my best work, but they will have to do. So we can now officially move on to our foundation. So I'm going to start by priming the skin. We will use the Photofocus primer, of course by Wet n Wild. For foundation, we will of course be using the Photofocus foundation. So I did pick up the shade 360C Porcelain. This is, from what I know, the lightest shade within the foundation range. Now usually I kind of just gear myself towards the lightest shade in any foundation just because it tends to always work out that way. Unfortunately, I think I could have probably gone a shade deeper than this because it's going to be ghost town when we're done here. So I do apologize for that. I'm going to put a lot of bronze or contour or whatever just to even it out. But unfortunately, this is a shade too light for me. So looking pretty dead right now, but I do think the shade isn't that far off. It's just a little bit too white. Just like a tad bit too white. So we are going to go in next with concealer. Again, we'll be using the Photofocus concealer. This one is in the shade Light Ivory. So I'm just going to put that underneath the eyes and down the nose. This is just what I normally do with concealer, and that's pretty much it. Okay, so next up I do want to set the concealer that we just put down. So I'm going to take the Wet n Wild Megaglo contouring palette. This thing is so wonderful. We're going to take the lightest shade, of course, and just put that under the eyes and in the T-zone area. And for that, I will be taking the BH Cosmetics #1 brush. This is a pretty big brush, but I think it's going to do the job just fine. So before I move on to finishing off the rest of the face, I do want to finish off the eyes. So I'm going to go ahead right into mascara, and that's going to be the Wet n Wild Megavolume Mascara. I am also going to put on some false lashes. This is totally optional. I do not have Wet n Wild false lashes, but I do have these really super cheap $2 lashes from eBay, which I do think is super similar. Again, this is a step that is optional, and I'm gonna do it anyways. Alright, so going back to our palette, I'm going to go ahead and take the shade #7 on the BH Cosmetics #11 brush. This is just a flat definer brush, and I'm just going to run that over pretty much half of the lower lash line. And just to sort of blend that out a little bit more, I'm going to take the BH Cosmetics #10 brush. This one is very similar to the 105 brush. I think they're almost exactly the same brush. This one is just a little bit less pointy. And we're going to take the shade #6 and put that on the lower lash line, but just kind of blending out shade #7. A little bit of lower lash line mascara. Alright, so because there's only one step left for the eyeballs, that is highlighting the inner corner and the brow bone, we're going to go ahead and take shade #2, and we're going to take that on the same brush that we just used for the lower lash line, except for obviously you're going to take off any of the product that was on it before, and we're just going to put that on the inner corner and the brow bone. That's what we're going to do. So the eyes are 100% done. We do not have to worry about them ever again, we can now go into contouring. So we're gonna take the same contouring palette, but this time taking the darker shade, and I'm gonna go ahead and take that on the BH Cosmetics number 4 brush. This is just a kind of flat sculpting brush, I guess you could say, and we're just going to carve out the cheekbones, top of the forehead, jawline, and down the nose. Moving on, we can do some blush. So I'm going to take the Coloricon Rose Champagne Blush, and we're going to take that again on the BH Cosmetics number 1. Alright, so for highlight, I'm going to take the Wet n Wild Megaglo Illuminating palette. This has 4 different shades in it, and obviously you have the option if you want to mix them all together or just use 1 or 2. So I'm going to go ahead and take probably the lightest shade over here to the side. This is the most golden one, and I'm actually just going to apply that with my fingers. I think this is going to get the best impact, and we're going to do cheekbones, down the nose, and that's pretty much it. So of course, one of the last steps we cannot forget is lipstick. So I'm going to take the Megalast Liquid Catsuit Liquid Lipstick in Rebel Rose. Alright, so now all we have to do is set everything in place. So I'll take the Photofocus Natural Finish Setting Spray and just drench ourselves. Alright guys, so that concludes this video. I'm super excited about it. This entire look probably cost under $100, which is insane to me, to be honest. Makeup is so expensive these days. I cannot believe that, like, I can't even believe that Wet n Wild is somehow able to charge such a low price given the market that we're in. So I'm super excited with this look, and I hope that you guys enjoyed it too. If you did, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. And if you guys have any video requests for me, or if you just want to say hello, because I do love saying hi to you guys, please leave that in the comment section down below, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!